right, so this is the first session of the day and I can already see the energy. I was just walking through the exhibition area and it's really funny that every year it's a seasonality, right? Last year it was a season of Gen AI. This year it's a season of agentic AI. And folks like me and of course a lot of you as well, especially who are in the services organization, product organization, we make a lot of money out of it, right? From our customers. So good for us. Guys, can you bring up the presentation, please? So I just have a quick question to start off with. How many of you, I'm assuming, you're from different parts and different levels in the organization. How many of you have taken agentic AI into production this year? Anything? So tell me, in general in your organizations, is there I won't say pressure, but is there a message from the top that do something in agentic AI? Make this process more efficient. Let's automate this particular process and maybe let's get rid of some team members, right? So it's funny how these refrains are the same across the world. The reason I'm saying across the world is because in my position, we serve close to 400 customers globally, and which is starting from Americas all the way to Australia, right? And the message everywhere seems to be exactly the same. They bring a certain process to us, that this is our current process in marketing, in sales, in operations, customer service, and they're like, let's put some agentic into it, right? And that is something which is actually unwarranted, and it doesn't justify the power that Gen AI and agentic AI actually brings to the table. So let's look at let's go through the presentation. There are a few things that I want to tell all of you, and especially in your own organizations, as to how you can actually make it or give it the right place in your respective businesses, right? So again, coming back to Gen AI, agentic AI in general, right? Huge promise, huge investment. There are trillions of dollars which have been invested already. Of course, most of them have been invested by the large players like OpenAI, Microsoft, Google, and so on. But every organization in its capacity, with whatever money it has, whatever budget it has been spending a lot on AI in general, right? And what is the board expecting? What is the CEO expecting? What are the investors expecting? Returns on it. And they are also expecting that the AI will be well governed, it will be ethical, it will be unbiased, and so on and so forth. So these are the three topics we are going to cover today, as to how to look at AI in the context of an organization. And I'll be very clear. See, my target audience here is not the startups, because they are AI natives. They will do things right from the word go. My target audience here is the large enterprises, the elephants who are trying to move, okay, and who are trying to adopt a technology which probably we haven't understood in terms of its true potential, right? So the question is, where is the return, right? And all of us get asked that. This is the reality where you have 85% projects which don't go anywhere. They go from dev to QA and then they disappear, and so on and so forth. And the last one, and this is of course public information, where it says less than 30% CEOs are satisfied. I'm trying to find the 30% CEOs who are actually satisfied. My question is, why are you satisfied? With what exactly? How has your business changed? How has it transformed anything? Your industry, your customer, your processes, what has it transformed that you are satisfied with your agentic AI initiatives, right? I'm sorry, I'm going to sound a bit cynical, because after listening to 400 customers, there are certain opinions that I have formed, right? Okay, so this is what I have found, which is lacking in enterprises primarily, and which is what I was touching upon earlier, right? The power of AI, we had an iPhone moment in 2007, and we had the ChatGPT moment in 2022, December 23. They are pretty much similar. iPhone changed the world in the way we use multiple things. We saw new businesses born out of it, right? And similarly, whether we talk of Gen AI or agentic AI, I'm pretty sure there are going to be massive new businesses that are going to, I'm not just talking of ChatGPT. That's one business. there'll be completely new business models in the industry that you are familiar with. Whether it is manufacturing, whether it is retail, whether it is e-commerce. And guys, I'm not only talking of customer service because wherever I go, the first thing they talk about is customer service. Let's bring agents into customer service. Okay, good. Why? Because they want to get rid of customer service representatives. Is that the potential of AI? I think it's way beyond that, right? So I think there's a huge lack of imagination from a business standpoint where we are trying to really harness a transformative technology with our linear thinking. Today we have this process, there are 40 steps. Let's do an RPA on it, but with AI, right? So let's automate it with AI. And there are teams which are running behind it. So you have the sales team and the marketing team and the operations team going to the board and presenting, you know what, we put agentic AI into our system. They want to win that race internally within the organization. That look, we have brought about so much innovation. So that's the race we are all running, right? So these are the three topics, like I said, we are going to look at. One is, how do you architect? And when I say architect, please don't think only technology architecture. I'm talking of business. How do you architect your business for AI? ROI. The way we are measuring ROI, one is reduction in number of people, speed up in time. Yes, all of these things are important. But there are multiple categories in which the ROI needs to be measured. And we'll have a quick look at what are those different categories, right? And lastly, very important, how will you govern this entire thing? So let's start with architecting the AI-first enterprise, right? The first point here is, if you look at the first sentence, that is what we keep hearing from senior management almost everywhere. We need to adopt AI. We need to adopt agentic AI. We need to, make our processes automatic and so on and so forth. Whereas, what the top leaders in the firm should be thinking is, how do we become AI first? And what that really means is, I'll give you with an example, right? So just look at this. It's just an example which I created in 5 minutes using, with vibe coding and so on. It's a process of buying a house, okay? And I call this a faceless app. Frankly, it's my dream that every app should be a faceless app where you go with one intent and it does it for you. You don't go and see a plethora of 50 menu items which I don't need. You go to a banking app, if I have to download an interest certificate, there are 20,000 pages, things that I have to go through. Okay, it may be here, it may be there, and then you go to a place. But here, the only intent we gave was, I want to purchase a house. There are agents at work, behind the scene, and I want to make a point at the end of it. So just go through this. So it searched for the houses, it looked at the user's budget, their financial credibility. Once the user selected the houses, it booked an Uber to take them through the tour of the house, those 3 houses that the user selected. Once the tour was completed, the user came back and said, okay, my tour is completed and I want to buy this particular house. And then all the next steps are happening over here. Everything through an agent. The thing is, this is not happening in 5 minutes. This is supposed to happen over 10 days, 15 days, maybe a month. Because, searching a house can take a month, for example, right? And then in the end, the entire process is completed. My question, like I said, this was a faceless app. There is an app, the user goes in, gives an intent, all the work is done by agents. Tell me how many entities were involved in this entire process? Anyone? Entities, how many businesses? Was it one business, multiple businesses? These 6 that I could come up with, right? You have the builder, you have the broker, you have the bank or lender, right? Housing finance corporations. You had property platforms like housing.com. And then you have government because you have to register your house. You have the transportation service Uber because the agent actually, spoke to the Uber and booked the cab for the tour. Now here is my question. Let's forget the government and transportation for the time being. Look at the top 4 entities here. Developer, bank lender, real estate broker, and property platform. Which of those CEOs is going to stand up and say that let's not just automate customer service or this operation or our marketing and sales process, let's change the entire game of house purchase for our customers. Because that's what AI is capable of. Change the entire industry. Because if those 4 people don't do it, There will be a smart startup, maybe one of you in the room, who will come up with this. Okay, you will be the next unicorn in India, elsewhere. So my biggest grudge with the large enterprises like the four at the top, why aren't you thinking like this? The transformation that AI can actually bring about. Why are you thinking at just a process level or at a business unit level or customer care? Do you get the point that I'm trying to make here? That imagination of reimagining your business, right, is what is lacking. And let's look at this, right? So there are three different types of organizations that I typically come across. AI resistant, of course, they have nowhere to go. If you're still AI resistant, then your extinction is a matter of years. Second, companies that take pride in themselves. We are AI enabled. We have AI enabled our recruitment process. We have AI enabled our customer service. Or we have AI enabled our sales. That is also a path to extinction because you're not changing anything. You're not changing the game. You're not changing the industry. You're not gaining any competitive advantage. So if you look at the headline, that there are three paths forward from where we are today. And two of them lead to obsolescence, which are obviously the first two. Okay? The only way to actually exist 10 years, 20 years down the line is the third one. And we still don't have quantum in the game. Once quantum comes, things are going to change even way beyond our imagination. Right? I mean, that's a talk for a different day, but, right? So, I mean, we already spoke about this basically, that when it comes to AI-enabled enterprise, they're only thinking of AI as a tool, how to automate a process, very limited thinking. They get stuck in that gap. Okay, we automated our recruitment process. How many people did we lay off? Or how much cost did we save? That's not going to solve any problem. That will not guarantee your existence. What we have to think is this. So when you go back to your organizations, please either you think like this or get your CEOs and board members to think like this. That if you were building your organization today with the technologies available today and their power, how would you build it? If a startup was to build, let's say, a broking agency today or a house purchase roadmap, or not roadmap, an app today, how would they build it? I just showed a very small example which was as basic as it could get. But I hope this part is very, very clear. This is the reimagination that's needed, especially in large enterprises. Otherwise, there will be someone who will come in more imaginative and will take over the entire process. The message from the top has to be very clear that this is what we are going to do. This is how we are going to reimagine our business. This is how we'll redefine our industry. And this will be our competitive edge. That is the job of the CEO and other leaders within the organization. They just have to do it. Because if the entire organization is running in 5 different directions of trying to automate their own processes, you're going to lead up nowhere. And we will continue to have those 85% AI projects fail. Right? And coming to people, because most of the time we keep hearing in news, this company laid off so many people, or this company is trying to bring agentic AI and AI, and they will reduce their workforce by 30-40%. To what end? I mean, if you have, let's say you have 100 people, you can either reduce 90 people and continue doing the same business, or you can keep the 100 people and grow your business 20 times by making them super agents. So why is our thought process so limited to let's do the same thing? We will continue doing the same thing, but with less number of people. Why not the other way around? Let's keep all the people, make them super agents, and perform 20 times better. Right? So it's all in the mind, guys, at the end of the day. ROI. We spoke about this. Today, how we measure ROI. Like I said, how many people, what cost, how did we speed up the process? Yes, those things are important. I'm not denying that. So let's very quickly, I don't know what's the time, but I think I'll run out in 5-7 minutes. So I'll just quickly take you to the slide, which is, again, like I'm repeating again and again, it's a transformative technology which we are trying to measure with the tools from 1990s. Transformation has to be measured in the right manner, and for which, at the bare minimum, at least, again from management, because ultimately your top management has to define this, that there are 2 or 3 different ways in which ROI needs to be measured. right? One, very clearly our efficiency plays. Can we do this better, faster, with low cost? Sure. Can we make it more effective? So today, if, our NPS score is X, can we make it 2X, 3X, 4X? By, using AI, Gen AI? Absolutely. Customer delight, brilliant thing to work for, right? But the third one is the most difficult measurement as to how did you change your company, how did you change your industry, and what is the competitive edge that you gained by using such a transformative technology, right? So that is the most difficult part of this measurement, and you cannot measure a 2025 technology with a 1990 tool, right, in an Excel sheet. Last, very, very important, and this is going to be fun. A lot of you, again, I'm sure in your organizations have been undertaking AI, agentic AI kind of projects, right? If there is one AI agent, no, that's 5 minutes bell, so it's fine, right? Okay, so if you have one single agent doing one particular task, are all of you confident you can guardrail it? Yeah, that much tech knowledge we have, we know the guardrails, you have NVIDIA's NEMO guardrails and all that, we can do that, right? Even if it's a team, right, of few agents looking after a workflow, I think we'll be able to handle it, right, with the right stack and the right tools available. How do you guard this? Imagine this example of a bank, it could be any organization, where there are thousands of agents talking to each other 24/7. You are sleeping and the agents are working. They are taking decisions. They are not only talking inside the organization, they are talking outside the organization to other agencies, to other entities, and taking decisions. Some entity questions something and the bank is replying, the agent at the bank is saying something which is going to impact the bank in one way or the other. And the treasury guy is sleeping, right? I mean, it's night time, but the agent is working. How do you guard this? My simple question is, if all the departments within an organization keep on developing their own agents on their own platform, on their own, I'll do it on Azure, I'll do it on Databricks, I will use some new shiny tool somewhere. How will you ever come to a state to establish an org-wide guideline or guardrails to manage thousands of agents? Because if this situation comes, your CEO can't go and say, what, the AI did that, right? When you are slapped with millions and billions of dollars of liability and claim because of a wrong decision, or if the agent goes and makes a trade which you didn't want and you lose billions of dollars, the CEO cannot go and say the AI did that. Because the next question will be, why did it do that? And you'll have no answers, right? Which means right from the start, I'll just skip a few slides in the interest of time because the bell has gone on. So, few things in terms of the agents themselves. Again, just like we talked about ROI, that there are different categories of ROI, there are different categories of agentic autonomy that you can give as well, right? Whether you're only allowing agents to suggest something, whether you're allowing them to be partially autonomous, fully autonomous, and more importantly, this part. Immutable logging, use blockchain if you have to, guys. But that infrastructure, that architecture has to be in place today. It can't be 3 years down the line when 5 different departments have their own agents running helter-skelter, right? Explainability is obvious thing, it's nothing new. We have been trying it for last many, many years now. And there are enough technology in place for that. So, I'll just quickly jump to the end. From a governance standpoint, there are only 3 questions, okay? Who owns it? Who owns the agent? How do we stop an agent? Who has the kill switch? And lastly, how do we explain what it did? So I'll stop here, guys. I know there's just one last slide, but that's okay. I hope all the messages that I was trying to give have landed. If there are any questions, I'm happy to take if there is time. Otherwise,